So I think the number one thing that a lot of reps are messing up when they're working a booth at a trade show or a conference is they're immediately just launching into a canned product pitch when they're asked the question, "What do you do?" Which obviously is the number one question you're gonna get asked, whether you're working the booth or you're just walking around the event or you're at the happy hour or whatever. So what should you do instead? Instead, um, and I noticed myself, I consciously noticed that I was doing this at Unleashed the other day. Instead, I look down at the person's badge and I look at their name, their title, and their company, and then I reframe the conversation. I frame the conversation accordingly to those three things, and make the conversation more about them than me. And so, in order to buy myself a few seconds to look down at their badge and not have it be awkward, I say three words. Well, that depends. So when they say, "What do you do?" I said, "Well, that depends." And that buys me a few seconds to look down at their badge. Now, if you don't have good eyesight and you need glasses or contacts, make sure that you have those on. Otherwise, you're gonna, make it even more awkward. You're gonna be like getting really close to the person, looking at their badge. So make sure you do that. But once you've seen that, obviously having strong business acumen is very critical here. So you're able to successfully reframe the conversation. So based on the company that they work at, like I'm gonna have a different conversation with somebody at Adobe than I would with CPC Strategy or somebody at CrowdStrike. If based on the title, I'm gonna have a different conversation with somebody in marketing as opposed to an SDR manager or a sales ops person. Those are much different conversations, and even just their name. So if I look at the person's name and I immediately see, oh, that's somebody I'm connected to on LinkedIn. Then I'm probably going to say something about that. Or maybe I'm not connected to them on LinkedIn, but I've seen a bunch of their posts on LinkedIn. I can say something about that. Or I saw that they're one of the speakers who is speaking at that event. I can say something about that. Ask them how their talk went if they've already done it. So other things that I can kind of make the conversation more relevant. If I see that company that they work at, and I know we have some account history there. We've had conversations with that company in the past. Maybe an opportunity that was in our pipeline, like last year or something. I'd probably say something about that. Who do they sell to? I mean, Lead IQ, we're a sales tool, so it's important for us to know, if I'm selling to somebody, who do they sell to? So I'd kind of, probe a little bit and ask some questions. Use my business acumen. I probably would say something like, "Oh, you guys sell to marketers, right? Or you sell to IT, right?" Something like that to show I actually know some stuff, instead of just asking a bunch of questions, and grilling them with questions. But I would try to kind of uncover a little bit more about who they sell to and what their process is like for using outreach and finding leads and getting them into outreach and stuff like that. And usually, when I kind of do a little bit of that kind of stuff, then the prospect is begging to actually see the product. They're like, "Okay, can you show this to me? Can you show me how Lead IQ works?" So it's more of doing that kind of discovery stuff instead of just launching into a product pitch. Lastly, what I'm going to wrap up with here is also the other thing that I try to do when working the booth is have some type of value add that is not even related to your product. So, I was at an outreach conference, and one thing that I think I can add a lot of value with that doesn't even relate to Lead IQ is I think a lot of people are messing up whether they use outreach or they use SalesLoft or any of these sales engagement tools. They're doing too much templates. They're automating too much and doing too much templates as opposed to really slowing down to personalize and make the messaging more relevant to that specific company, the use case for that company and that particular person, that contact at that company. So that's something that I can actually help people out a lot with, being able to kind of personalize it more and help them with their sequences so they can get better reply rates and book more meetings. And that doesn't have anything to do with Lead IQ. That's just kind of me helping people out. So that's something that I can also do when I'm at the booth. So, have a value add, have something of value that the people that are coming to the booth, you can actually help them out with that doesn't even relate to your product. That's the other thing. So hope this helps, and I'll see you at the next event.